All right, so I just went through a half an hour, I realized, so I'm going to try and go through this much faster now, so just for the sake of time. So I'm going to go through and fix some more things on her. Again, I'm going to use a sponge and probably just to saturate this a little bit. More than that, what I'm going to do is use the color replacement tool, because right now it's this like bright orangey look. I want it to be more similar. Thanks. I want it more similar to like this color, because this is kind of that gray and it's kind of the same as that. So I'm gonna hit alternate to sample that. So I sampled that, and now what I'm gonna do is very gingerly make sure I'm on her layer, and I'm going to weaken this up a little bit. Let's see here. Pardon this. That's amazing. I'm a real big fan of how strong this is. Tolerance. Let me take the tolerance down a little bit. Contiguous color. It needs to be stronger than that. I'm just gonna basically take some of these highlights and a little bit strong there. So I'm gonna feather it too. Okay, so all right, so that's not really letting me do that either. Okay, so just gonna try and a little too strong for me. So I'm gonna take this and go a little more orangey yellow with it. I feel like it's make the brush smaller too. So only really need to get this highlight out of the way. All right. Like that. Okay, so took a little bit of that away. Now what I'm gonna do is just use some burn and dodge to kind of try and match up some other things here. So because she's kind of flat now at this point, so I'm gonna go to this and we're gonna do the dodge tool, and I'm just gonna kind of basically dodge some of the upper areas here. Okay, so like that, and then I'm just gonna use the burn tool. That was way too much, so I'm going to weaken this considerably, and I am going to go ahead and try to do it to the shadows so that it doesn't look quite so bad, but I don't know, always ends up looking a little funky. One of the things I'm not happy about too is that you see how this is kind of cut off, so I'm actually going to use a weird kind of filter. I'm going to go to filter, and you're going to see where it says liquefy, and what that's going to allow me to do is, if I get down here, okay, so I'm just, you can use command or control plus, okay, is that I have, right now I have the warp tool on, but I'm going to use this one, and what that does is it actually lets you push the image, like this, okay, I'm just going to kind of push the image a little bit so it doesn't look so bad, alright, and then hit OK, and what you're going to notice is that that's going to change that, or not. Looks like that did not work. Okay, let's try that again. Why would that not have worked? Let me see something. Okay, so it did work, but the problem was it didn't do it to the channel underneath as well. So, I'm gonna need to fix that. So, oops, didn't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is this, just to try and fix it, because it's, actually we'll do this one too. And I'm going to go ahead and just do merge visible, and that will flatten that object because it wasn't working correctly. So I'm going to lose now, you'll notice the that mask, but so now this is just a straight up image. So I'm going to try this again, liquefy. Didn't like the way that worked, so let's try this again, liquefy, and let's go ahead, okay, and control plus, and down here, come on, sorry the computer's just a little bit laggy, come on, alright, so again I'm just going to try and fix this. I'm going to, in the advanced mode here where it says show backdrop, I'm going to uncheck that because I don't really need to see what's underneath there. And what I'm going to do is just try to use this liquefy tool to basically make it appear as though her dress is straight. And then I'm going to hit OK. and voila. And now you can see it's kind of rounded, so it doesn't look so weird. The other thing I'm going to do with her too is actually put her arm down, because right now it looks like she's like a rodeo person, and I think she would probably hang on with both hands. This is kind of a neat tool. I could actually try to do it with liquify, just like I push this down, but the results wouldn't work as well. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to puppet warp. And you're going to see this is really fun. So what you do is you add pins, and the pins, you can move them around. So first thing I'm going to do is put a bunch of pins. Oops, let's undo that one. I'm going to put a bunch of pins in here that will more or less, I'm kind of putting them in here so that it staples her down so that she doesn't move. Because otherwise you'll see if I move one, it'll shift, but these other ones are holding it down. So I'm going to put some pins in here in the hopes that that will help. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold alternate, and you'll see that this little thing comes around. Don't do it over top of it, because if I hold alternate over top of a dot, it'll actually remove it. See how that took it away? So I'm going to hold alternate, and I'm just going to drag this down. And you can see it makes a wireframe. I'm going to drag it down, and that will actually allow me to have her hand go down, and it looks a little more realistic. I'm going to take this, I'm just going to click and drag this, and you can see I can kind of pull it. And I'm just going to pull this down a little bit so it's not popping out so much. And once I'm happy with it, I'm just going to enter, and then you can see now her arm is down, right? It looks a little more realistic, and it's pretty cool. Okay. So, gosh, this does not match at all, but it's going to have to go with it. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this elephant, and I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to put underneath the elephant, because as you can see, the way you can kind of tell when things are attached to other things, one of the ways is to actually have a shadow. So to do that, I'm just going to use the brush tool, okay? And I'm going to choose a black color. I'm just going to do straight up black. And I am going to, is that what I want? No. So you can see it's a little too solid for me. So I'm actually going to go up here, and I'm going to choose a brush that, I'm going to choose like this one, where it's got, actually I don't like the angle on that one. So let's do a different one. We're going to do this one, where it's feathered, okay? Especially since it's outside. If it was real strong light, you can see like these are pretty harsh. But this is actually meant to not be. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I'm just going to, on this new layer, paint a shadow. Okay, so I'm gonna do a bad job. There's other ways of doing it where I can actually copy the layer above and that whole thing, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do it this crappy way because of time constraints. All right, so we'll just say that that's our shadow. All right, now you can see that doesn't look very good. So I can do is on this layer, I'm gonna take the opacity and pull this down, and then you can see that is starting to work a little bit better. Okay. One of the other things I'm going to do is I'm going to hit E for eraser. We'll make this much bigger. And shadows are actually darkest towards on the actual part that, and it actually gets lighter as it goes away. So again, I'm going to take a really feathered thing here, make it really big, and I'm just going to kind of around the outside. See, I'm not even touching it, just to kind of help that shadow a little bit. Okay, so that could definitely be a lot better, but you know, there's not so much I can do with what I got here. Okay, so let's see what else we need to do to this. So one last thing I'm going to do on the elephant is that if you look, he's a little bit sharper than the thing that's on the background. I'm actually going to just use Smart Blur to blur him out a little bit. So I got him selected. I'm just going to go to Filter. I'm going to go to Blur, and we're just going to do Smart Blur. Oh, I had the shadow selected. Let's try that again. Filter. Where are you? Blur, and Smart Blur. I'm just going to kind of pull him up here, and oof, I don't really like the way that's looking. Right. Okay. That should hopefully, I don't know, that didn't really do much for me. Okay, so I'm going to take this, make this a little bit darker. I'm going to take the opacity back up a touch. Like that. Okay. I could do a lot more to make this look better, but honestly, a lot of it just is going to take time to try and get things to match up correctly. But we're going to call this one good as far as that's concerned. Probably makes sense to crop this in some way because I actually got a lot more than what I need. So if this was cropped correctly. Okay. You can kind of see. Could be better, but that should do. Okay.